You never
All
know.
right. All right, guys. Well, welcome again to the Leveled Up Podcast, Episode 2, Electric Boogaloo. As always, I have my wonderful co-hosts, Jaw21, who is below me right now,
Hello.
Below
Mike,
me.
Michael Nightmare, which is that way, the spooky scary skeleton that he is, and then we got Angel, but he's not
Angel.
actually here right now, so
He's not really here.
I mean, he'll be here.
he'll be
And I may or may not be here,
yes,
pending my power.
that's so. Of course, it is a very spooky month. This month, I'm kind of time stamping this, but we're coming into freaking Halloween very soon, and we wanted to talk about something that's very near and dear to most of our hearts. Obviously, scary movies and Halloween themed this is and that's. John, can you tell us a little bit about your favorite horror movie and your favorite horror movie to watch during the spookiest of the times of the year?
I think I'm gonna be. It's gonna be sound really generic, but I think one of my favorite around this time of the year is to watch Halloween. Actually, like the original Halloween. Out of this new trilogies, I like the first one that came out of it, so I'm like a big fan of that one too. Like,
Mhm.
but like those Conjuring movies get me every time and get me like pretty scared when they I'll watch those ones. Those are one of my. But growing up, I was a big fan of the Friday the 13th and like Nightmare on Elm Street used to scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, those were
Quite a
like
bit.
it was like it was the God, what would you even call it? It was these three just specific movies of their time. And
Yeah.
it was the trifecta of like
Yeah.
slasher horror, I would say, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of what's it called, The Exorcist as a kid, but I come to enjoy it now.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's what a movie's like. I think like there's so many different like there's a lot of good horror movies. But they're like wide range. Like I think of the Conjuring series because I think all those are really good. Insidious is a good is a good series of horror movies.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the first Sinister movie. I thought that was like creepy as hell.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool movie. I'm trying to think like I'm a fan of the classics too. To be honest, I like Dracula.
Well,
I
we're
like
gonna
Bram
get into that.
Stoker's Dracula.
We're gonna
I'm a
get
big
into
fan of
that.
those.
But
Yeah.
first, Mike, what would your favorite horror movie be, or your favorite horror movie to watch in the spooky times?
That's a good question. Like I think my favorite horror movie or franchise of recently,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if it's a horror movie, but I'm a huge fan of like Saw
Oh, that's
and
great.
the Purge. I
Yep.
just dig those like
Those are great movies.
franchises. I think they're just super. They're like because they're like a horror, they're like a gore, and they're like suspense and thriller like all at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just very like, and most of them don't really star any famous actors, so like everybody's game, right? Like
Right.
everybody
die.
can die, right? Like there's
Yep.
no fucking like, oh, they got this actor in here, so he's probably gonna survive. So I just like that
Huh.
like, anything can happen type of
I forgot about a
movie.
lot of those
Those are
movies.
dope. Yeah.
But I also do like Escape Room. I thought that franchise, even though I don't know if they're going to continue, that was really interesting.
I'm not sure if
And I do like stuff like Cube
Yeah.
and
Oh,
like
right on.
Cube Zero and stuff like that, where it's like it's very like, I don't know, it's just crazy, random shit. It's like unexplained type of stuff. Like I don't know, I dig that too.
Yeah, that's really
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm,
Well, I
mhm.
want to ask you a question later based on that answer. I will definitely ask you something after.
Yes, ask me that.
I will. I'll ask you. It's so hard.
Ask me so
Do it
hard.
hard.
Yes, do it.
Mm.
For
What?
me personally, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Friday the 13th. Anybody who knows me is I love the big boy, you know. There's
That's
something about this unstoppable force, this just giant wall of a man who's just, I big and I'm dumb magic. So I can just be everywhere at any time and it's just gonna be cool. And then there's like one of the greatest scenes of all time from any slasher movie ever. I think me and Mike talked about this. Maybe it was not me and Mike, maybe it was, I know I talked about this recently, where Jason puts a girl in a bag,
Oh, the sleeping
yep.
bag.
the sleeping
Yeah.
bag, and then he just
Yeah.
slams her against the tree.
Yeah, it's like the simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that Jason X?
Jason X,
He does
yeah, I
that?
believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Love
remember
it.
that. Great scene.
A fantastic,
Hilarious scene.
not a great movie, but a fantastic scene.
I
Oh,
think at that point
that's a
those
great
movies
movie,
become
okay.
like yeah, they become just more comical or at that point at that stage.
Yeah. I would say that would be my favorite, but like my favorite to watch during these like spooky times would probably be like Saw, or like the Saw series,
I like Saw.
Yeah.
or Final Destination.
I totally forgot about the Saw series. That's such a good
And Final Destination's great too, actually.
Oh yeah. I'm
I was
mhm.
talk about a movie franchise that will actually like traumatize you from doing things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like most movies don't get you like that. They really just don't. And
Yeah.
that is a movie that 100% makes you question many different occasions in your life going forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not going to pay and change this time. It just anything. It could literally
Yeah.
be anything.
But definitely not driving behind a wood truck.
Oh dude.
You know, not driving, not not getting on some roller coasters.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a little scary.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, those are like average, like common fears that have been
Mhm.
amped to like a
Oh,
million.
fucking scare the shit out of you for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm gonna assume for Angel, it's gonna be like Conjuring because he's always talking about the Conjuring. He loves talking about the Conjuring. So for him, his placeholder favorite horror movie is gonna be the Conjuring.
Conjuring's great. I was recommending it to someone. They're supposed to be making a fourth one actually.
Jesus
They're filming it right
Christ.
now. It's supposed to come out next year.
That's
Next year is gonna be like
crazy.
this. Next year is gonna be like the season of horror movies. I can't name, like I think Hellraiser. No,
Hellraiser
that came
just
out
came
this
out.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hellraiser just came out. No, the prequel to the It series is coming out.
I'm like not
Uh,
sure we need that, but
but yeah, I don't know
I'll
if we
still
need it
watch
either.
it.
Yeah.
God, I can't think. I just saw a whole like thing on Instagram. They were talking about like next year's we're gonna have from September all the way through October. There's gonna be like 3 or 4 horror movies coming out, and I think Conjuring is
Okay.
gonna be in that list too. So
Rad.
yeah,
I'm sure.
so we should have some good stuff, good new stuff that's coming out.
So we mentioned a couple of things here. We mentioned a couple of movies from different kind of genres, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of like certain sub genres of horror? Certain things like gore horror, certain things like very strong suspense, like obviously campy slashers, more like in-depth thrillers, things that are psychologically horror, like Psycho or like The Shining. Um, how do you guys feel about like horror being such a genre that's been like branched out and taken to so many different places? Like, do you guys have like a specific one that you like viewing more than the others?
I like them all. I mean, I like to jump from like the slasher movie to like the psychological one, or like to the super, I guess, sci-fi and then really
Aliens.
gory, yeah, aliens, and then like,
Oh yeah.
even like the really gory ones. I'm really a big fan of like the ones that you're anticipating the jumps,
Oh
like
yeah.
Angel, like I like the Conjuring because like you're just waiting for something to come, and you know it's coming. There's something in the background or something moving around.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of all of them. Like it doesn't, not one more than the other, but I like that there's such a variety of different
Mhm.
ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I kind of like lean more towards the slasher films. Like
Same.
obviously, things that we've already mentioned before, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, things that are of like that type of variety are very, very fun and interesting to me. Even things like Jeepers Creepers or stuff like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm. Did like Jeepers Creepers. That
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
fucking cool.
That
there's
was a
just
good one.
it's a little taste of just like a movie wrapped in with all this like goofy, silly things that would never happen. You know, it's like, oh no, there's a killer here. I guess we should fuck. You know, like
Since you're a big fan of the slasher movies,
yeah,
who do you think's gonna, and you're a big fan of, Jason, right? You're a big fan of, Friday the 13th.
definitely, yeah.
What do you think will win at a fight? Did you, Freddy or Jason, Freddy or Michael Myers?
It
Those
depends
are like
which.
those are like the three
Okay,
in my opinion, the three bigs.
it depends on which Michael Myers. Also, with me not seeing this last movie, I don't exactly know. Is he just a guy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so not that one. That one would
Mhm.
not win. Um,
Uh,
I
yeah.
think the original Michael Myers might win. If it was like down to
Is he
the
just pure evil and he just doesn't go down?
so if it's down to like the first three movies, I would say the original Michael Myers wins in that because he's so the story of Michael Myers in the first three movies is that he is like this weird creation, demonic creation based off of like some pagan ritual that somebody did back in like the season of the witches or some bullshit. Um and
That's,
he's basically magic.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's like there's only one real specific way to kill him. You like do the anti-ritual or something, and it stops him. Like it doesn't kill him. He just stops.
Stops him. Yeah, stops him, but then he still gets up.
Yeah. So it's
And
like,
then
mhm.
Jason needs to be like called upon or something like that, right? Or he,
There needs to be a disturbance. Like
yeah.
it's really weird how Jason works. And he
And
has
then
it's almost like he has an area of effect. You know what I mean? He doesn't go past this certain point unless it's like Jason X or some stupid bullshit. Uh, but that's he has this area of effect. Like he
yeah,
lives within this space. Michael Myers can just go
he
everywhere,
can go. Yeah,
and like
yeah,
Freddy, he's only it only depends if you're in the dream. Like that's where he gets all the powers. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
If you forget about him or he gets forgotten, he's gone.
Yeah,
That's his power. And when people start fearing and remembering his name,
yeah,
that's when it is.
exactly. And it's like, who knows? Does Michael Myers ever fucking sleep? Like in the original movie, he probably doesn't. You know?
Yeah. I mean, in the original, he doesn't. He's such a. I was just watching the original, and he's such a mystery in that first one,
Yeah,
and it's all based off of Loomis's fear,
that's right.
um,
Yeah,
and it's just trying to figure out what he, like why he like piece together what he has found from this child that he's been treating for all these years,
right,
and find out like why he's that evil and why he's killing and why he killed his sister on that night. And then,
right.
isn't Lori like his other sister?
Yeah,
That's
that's the
right.
weird part. That franchise
They
doesn't
don't like,
really acknowledge that.
they don't go into detail either. They don't
Well,
explain.
they do, and like it's later. It's like in Halloween
Right.
H2O where it finally is like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
So there's like three timelines that I found out when I was doing some I was before I went to go see Halloween Ends. I was doing like research on it, and
Yeah.
then I guess so. It goes like the first original one, right? And then if you're gonna go with, you can go Halloween 2, then Halloween 3 is like still part of it, but then it goes into 4,
Yeah.
5, and I think that's the end of it. Like the revenge of Michael Myers, but then or 6, I think it's 5 or 6. But then Halloween H2O and Resurrection
Yeah.
stem off of a different universe, off of Halloween 2, I think.
Okay.
And then obviously the Rob Zombie ones.
Right. So
And then this new trilogy takes place only after Halloween
First
1.
one.
oh
Yeah,
okay.
the first one.
Oh okay. Okay.
So
So it's
Halloween
just
2 doesn't take place. Yeah.
okay. So he is just kind of like a regular guy. So
Right.
yeah, it hasn't been explained as to why he's He's like this.
He's just evil.
He's just a badass kid.
I think I just like that. Like he's like this enigma of like evil. Like I kind of like that mystery. We don't need to go in deep into his psyche. You know, he just kills and he's like unstoppable. You know.
So I'm of the type of people, I guess, or person that there's a difference between Michael Myers and the Shape, which is what they used to call him in the old
Like
movies.
used to
He
call
was
him the
called
Shape. Yeah.
Shape. And I feel like there's a huge difference between the two, and especially now more than ever. You know what I mean?
They call
Yeah.
him Shape.
They do call him the Shape.
Yeah,
Never
he
heard
was in the
That's-
first one. He was originally called the Shape.
Yeah, that's why that's his name in Dead by Daylight as well. They call him the Shape.
Oh, the Shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that. Weird.
Yeah.
I've never heard this in my life.
Dude, it's there. I promise
Yeah. It's there.
I believe you.
But
Don't get him confused by his cousin, the Polygon.
Hey,
But
there
There he
he
is.
the trapezoid.
Hey,
yeah,
we were just talking about how The Conjuring is so weak as a horror movie.
It's the worst.
congrats on having a fucking shit opinion.
Love it.
And there you go. There's our other co-host, Mr. Angel OLOL, or Angel for you at home.
Hello.
We were just talking about who would win in a fight between the three original slasher movie villains: Michael Myers, Jason, or Freddy Krueger.
I mean, wouldn't it be Freddy Krueger? Because you essentially can't fight him.
No. So we explained that. But you are totally fine to have that opinion. That's totally
I
fine.
mean, the way how the movie's been doing it, Michael Myers 1v9ing for real.
Yeah, exactly. I chose Michael Myers, but the reason why I chose him is because I chose the original, like, first three movies where he was actually magic and you couldn't kill him. Like, unless you knew the magic spell to kill him or to stop him. It doesn't even kill him; it stops him. So that was my answer. And then I guess Angel, you're Freddy Krueger.
If we're talking about how it is, because I mean, Freddy versus Jason did happen, right?
It sure did. Yeah, I remember that.
And Freddy,
Yeah.
I mean, Jason folded him, right? That was the thing.
No, no one won.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Well-
kind of. Well,
They gave it
and
to
they-
Jason and then they gave it to Freddy.
Yeah, they gave it to
They both
Jason.
won.
Yeah, and then Freddy like
And
kind of
both
takes
lost.
over Jason.
No, they
Yeah.
took his mask into the water or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. But honestly, the way I've watched it and the way it is, I think Mike Myers would win.
I also think Mike Myers. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that costume? Somebody actually did that costume where it's just the Michael Myers mask, but they like combed his hair and they put on like the freaking Austin Powers
Powers
like,
outfit?
freaking
Oh my
outfit.
God.
It's so
Insane.
good.
I can
That's
see
insane.
that. That's
in
great.
one hand he has the the machete, and the other hand he has the gun. It's amazing. What about you guys, Mike, John? What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go with Jason.
You gonna go, Jason?
I love you and I appreciate you for that.
I just think I personally, it's like Jason is dead already. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You like Mike Myers in some universes is alive. So you can kill him, but you can't kill Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you throw him into space. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's been into space. So, I mean
He's been to space and
he
he's
did that.
still
He did that already.
Yeah.
He got a bunch of kills in space. Okay, he
Yeah,
racked up
did. He racked up-
racked up plenty.
he
in
racked
space.
up that kill count for sure.
That kill streak was sick. He got
Yeah.
he got a nuke up in space.
Damn it.
That one of my favorite kills in Jason X is when he grabs the girl and fucking dips her face in like the liquid nitrogen and then
Yeah,
shatters
and then
her head on
shatters
the
it.
table.
Oh, it's so
Yeah, it's
good.
fucking brutal, dude. Like holy fuck.
Jason's by far has the best movies. They all like are dumb and campy, but he's by far has like the best.
Yeah,
kills.
he's got the best kills for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't care
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is. He kills people in the coolest ways.
Oh hell
He
yeah.
does
Like,
kill people.
everybody
It's
else.
just
I mean, Freddy's got
Mike's
some
pretty
interesting
close.
ways too, but Michael Myers has got like he just kills people like a normal person would kill people.
Yeah,
I
right?
mean, he hung that one kid by like with
Huh?
one knife. Like he took
Yeah.
he picked up the kid, put him up against the wall, and then just jammed that kitchen knife.
Yeah.
And then he's hanging there, bleeding to death or whatever.
Yeah, but Jason could do the same shit.
Yeah,
he
it
could
is,
do
yeah.
that and worse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he could do the same move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Fucking Echo Fighter.
well,
You know what's one of the kills that fucking threw me off from Mike Myers?
what's that?
The fucking curb stomp, dude.
Oh,
Oh,
the
that
curbs.
was
Yeah, he
prop.
was doing that a lot in these last few movies, like just
Yeah,
curb
where he
stomping
just
people.
fucking pumpkin smashed that head, dude. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Like he's gotten somewhat creative in some of the other ones. Like he had the when he killed those two officers in the first in this new trilogy. He
Mhm.
the flashlights like made the guy. He took the guy one of the officers' head off and it looked like a jack o' lantern because he put a flashlight in the bottom of the neck.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's I mean he's what Mike you said Jason.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah.
more creative.
Yeah, Jason's
Yeah,
way more creative.
I mean
I mean, the one we already talked about, grabbing the girl in a fucking sleeping bag and beating her
yeah,
against
and
a tree
beating
is
her
like
with
to
the
death,
tree,
that's
yeah.
or beating
Ugh.
the other girl. There was another girl there too, wasn't it? Did he like beat another girl with
Yeah,
the
he
girl
beat,
and then
yeah.
beat the other girl against a tree? Like
Yeah.
that's just too impressive. Like
And
that's
And then he left. Then he
you
left that
win.
one hanging in the bag, and then the bag caught on. It was over a campfire.
Yeah.
Caught on
Yeah,
fire, and
yeah.
she fell into the fire and burned herself alive.
Beat
Burned
a,
Yeah.
herself
beat a
to death.
motherfucker with
Beaten to death
another
and then
motherfucker.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Quan Chi in Mortal Kombat. You like rip off the dude's leg and then beat him
And
with
just
it.
beat
Like,
him with.
come on, that's fucking cool as fuck.
You know what's the best part of that fatality is he doesn't stop. He doesn't
Yeah.
stop until you like go to the next screen.
So then he just beats the shit out of you eternally.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
John,
good. Pretty good shit.
what is your answer to that?
You know, I'm a fan. You know, I like Michael Myers, but I think I would go with Jason also because I think like,
Yes.
Yeah.
because I honestly like he's done some funny stuff. Like, well, here's the other
He's done
creativity other
funny
than
stuff,
Jason.
so that's the interesting thing. He's just like
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think also he grew up on a camp, right? And so
Yes.
he's like good at archery and all this other stuff. So a lot of times his death, he uses like environments to kill what's around him. Now, not and Michael Myers does the same thing, but I think Jason's got a slight more creativity because like this when Michael Myers kills, it's in like houses in like in the neighborhoods or you know
It's all around.
Jason's at a camp and there's a lot of
It
different things.
Michael Myers' kills remind me more of like Scream kills.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like-
they're very much like a dude, like just some guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a dude.
Yeah.
with
Just a
knife.
dude killing a dude like another dude.
That's right. But Jason is like he's not only like 6'8", 5,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You know,
He's like
also
a tank.
he's a tank, yeah. And he's
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
just magic. And I think I like
Yeah.
way more
He's got
than the Halloween theme. I like it way more than Freddy's like the little kids like doing the song shit. you know?
Yeah, Freddy's song's kind of weak in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I like it more. But you know, that's just me.
I agree. I think that it's a lot like more, I guess, menacing.
Could you
Super
imagine just
nasty.
walking in the fucking forest and that's all you hear? You hear it like as loud as like a loudspeaker can play it, but it's just some guy. Just some big ass guy.
There's some dude.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's actually insane. That's like terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to our next question. That is gonna be how has horror changed throughout the years? Which is great because we have a mishmash of ages here. I'm talking things like practical effects. I'm talking about the change from that to CGI. I'm talking about the stories and sometimes the lack thereof. For me, I consider Pan's Labyrinth a horror movie in its own way. I think it's fantastic in its story. I think it's great as like a horror that is both like half real life issues and like mystical kind of crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
See that.
matches both things very well, and it might have it like without Friday the 13th like existing, I think it might be my favorite horror movie of all time. But this is what I'm kind of talking about. How do you think it's changed throughout the years? We have obviously the old 1930s Dracula, and then we have the newest thing, Halloween Kills. There's like a huge gap in between that. How do you guys feel about the changes in horror since I guess the earliest point you can remember?
I mean, I'm personally, I'm a fucking sucker when it comes to like the old school horror movies, right? Like
Mhm.
every time I go to horror nights, that's like the maze I want to go to. If there's a Dracula one, if there's a Wereman, it's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, well, in their era, like before, I mean, at that time, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger didn't exist, right? Like the most terrifying thing you knew about around that time was was Dracula, Nosferatu,
Yeah.
what's it called? Stuff like that,
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
was
Frankenstein's monster, stuff like that.
yeah, that was horror back then because they were like, oh, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, like nowadays, I guess you dive into more like not mythological, but like a lot of lore. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Mhm.
lore based
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Definitely.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself while my dog barks.
No, you're good.
Digital
Uh,
Alpha Omega.
for me, it's like it's the big contrast between building up a character or building up like a situation or a scene, something like The Fly or something like The Thing, where you're building the suspense back in the day, where it's like it's a very like organic and natural way to do things. It's like obviously you're gonna look at through corners and you're gonna be like in the
Yeah.
thing they were very careful to like not get into trouble, except that one dude, I can't remember his name, but the guy that kind of fucked everything up. um they did so well to build these characters as like actual people with actual thought processes, and then like in the newer like the 90s and the 2000s, it got kind of like it became a kill count movie.
Yeah.
They became kill
Yeah.
counts, and even like things like Scary Movie parodied that, and whatever other parody movies that there were at the time. And
Yeah. I think that goes right into this like Final Destination. Like they're going for the kill count.
yeah,
Like what's the most gruesome one they can do.
yeah, and
Um.
I really like how Angel like goes into that, where it's like back in the day, this is all we knew, like the Draculas, the Frankenstein's
Yeah.
monsters, the mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, stuff like that. It's like
The
it really,
classics.
yeah, I really enjoyed things like that too because of the practical effects. I'm a huge fan of like making costumes,
Mm-hmm.
and just that is the horror, that is everything. Like the character, the actor is so good at portraying this monster through
Yeah.
just these like prosthetics or whatever that they're wearing, man-made things, that there's no need to make this monster look like Dwayne the Rock Johnson from fucking the Scorpion King. You know what I mean? Like there's no need to have to do that. And for me, I think that's really impressive. And I kind of hate how a lot of movies have moved towards doing the CG thing, um, because I think it's way more terrifying to just like see what could be,
Yeah.
even
Yeah, I like practical effects.
Mhm.
I mean wrong. I think now like when you mix the two
Yeah,
and it's like more the visual effects are more subtle, not just pure visuals. I think that's a winning combo right there. So
yeah,
just to give it that little extra exaggeration for the for death, but
no, I get you.
definitely like I think story also gets me. Like I like to be invested into like why am I gonna be so scared of
Yeah,
this?
definitely.
And for me, it's more of like now we're diving into just not like the what if. It's like, oh, what quote unquote has happened in the world.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
When
the
it
more
comes to like
like
that,
there's more realistic kind of like
like the
true story
Amityville
horror.
horror, like like to me, I know like the Conjuring movies are like super, exaggerated and whatnot, but it still intrigues me that these things have
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, that's fucking crazy. Imagine going through that. You
Well,
know
they're
what I
based
mean?
on true events,
Yeah.
it
so at some point it happened.
makes movies like The Exorcist or like The Omen seem like more like realistic, you know what I mean? Because then
Yeah,
when The Exorcist came out and stuff like that, you started to hear more about like actual exorcisms and stuff like that. And then
yeah,
movies that came on like 20 years after, the exorcism of whoever the fuck, and Amityville Horror or whatever, or like even shows like the first season of American Horror Story.
yeah,
Um
first season was good, and then
I
feel
love
like
that first
oh,
season.
yeah,
That second season was ass.
yeah,
But we haven't heard
yeah.
from Mike, man. What do you think about that? What do you think about the changes in horror throughout the years?
I think horror movies did change from having like an iconic like that. I mean, they still kind of have the icons. They just haven't been able to create new icons.
Right.
So I think like they were based on like the monsters of historical lore,
Yeah.
like the mummies and fucking shit like that,
Yeah.
and like vampires and werewolves and all that. But like I think horror's shifted, and I think like realism is sort of what people are scared of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why you have movies like a Final Destination is sort of like really popular, is because like that's although it's like not realistic, but it's like realistic, right? Because
Like
these are just
Right.
like
it could
random
happen.
situations could happen, and
Yeah.
stuff like Saw, where it's just like some dude who like tortures people, or you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like these are things to be terrified of, and you don't know why you're being chosen, and you don't know why why you've been selected to be the one to do this, or there's just a lot of different um you know kind of topics, and I think like even something like The Purge, you know um it almost weirdly seems like something that could happen. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's so stupid, but like it's also like you know you could almost see somebody being that crazy to try something like that, to make
Right.
something
I
like
mean,
that
no
happen.
Yeah.
spoilers. It's like, have you guys watched the Black Phone?
Mhm.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
situations like
No.
that seem very real. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I would
That's an
imagine.
incredible. That's an
I don't
incredible
want to.
movie.
I don't want to spoil it either. But it's like the
Incredible
way
movie.
that story's told, the
I want
way
to
it
watch
is.
it.
It's like it's super real. It doesn't
Yeah.
require. Like obviously, there's some parts where like there are special effects and all that stuff and whatnot.
Mhm.
But there are like parts where it's like this is real as fuck. Like there's
Yeah.
probably somebody watching this movie that probably went through something like this.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the closest thing I can like attach to that movie, just based on seeing like the trailer, would be like fucking Misery, I guess. The like feeling of like being helpless. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? or
Yeah.
like Don't Breathe, I guess, would be
Don't
like the
Breathe is
closest
cool.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, Don't Breathe 2 is weird.
I didn't know there was a part 2.
Oh, there is. It's a very strange movie, because I'll tell you. Let me tell you why.
Yeah,
Is like
please.
so. I guess in a sense, right? Like the first movie is weird because there's like he's got a girl
Oh
trapped in
yeah.
his house, right? So that's like weird, right?
Yeah.
But like in theory, if you think about it,
Is
you
he
remove
really the
remove
villain?
remove the girl from the basement. Like honestly, they should have just removed her from the plot of the movie, right?
Oh yeah.
And
100%, dude.
and they should have just let that not be part of the story, because I think that actually like ruined the sort of setup of the second movie, because
Okay.
yeah, in theory he's not the bad guy if that scene wasn't in the movie. He's
Right.
not. You have kids breaking into his house. He is the
Stealing
full
money.
and he's blind, or he's deaf, or he's blind, and so he can't see
Mhm.
you, and they're stealing his money, and they're doing all this like shit. And so if they did not have that weird, I don't even know why it's in the movie, that like totally like fucks up like the concept. But like then the sequel is basically, they're like making him the hero.
Yeah.
They legitimately make him like, you are supposed to root for him, even though the
Okay.
last movie he was the bad guy. You're like, wait, what? Like I
No,
didn't
no,
I
forget
didn't
about that.
get
It was a dream. It was a dream.
I didn't get that
Fever
part.
dream.
It was
Yeah,
all the
I didn't
dream.
really get it, but like yeah, that was a very odd choice for them to be like, okay, now you're supposed to like this guy. Like I didn't like him before. Like what?
No.
Like, but that, I mean, it's a cool concept. I just think they fucked up their story somewhere there, that they
Yeah.
wrote something wrong and should not have done it. But
Somebody fucked it up, yeah.
yeah,
They didn't double check it.
yeah, should
Interesting.
have thought that out a little bit
So
better.
so I'm gonna throw a random question out here.
Mm.
So knowing that, we have these old school icons and stuff like that, they have made a few remakes. We got Candyman and stuff like that. Obviously we get a new Halloween. We're getting remakes and this and that's like all over the fucking place. If you could, if you could, not even for the first time, if you could bring back a horror movie icon from back in the day, Like, who would you bring back to make like a new movie?
I mean, they already did Dracula, fucking Michael Morbius, bro, and that didn't work. Out.
That's
What do you mean? That was a great film.
We actually have
Right.
Michael Morbius here.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
we do.
I'm here. That
But
is
no,
not-
like,
like,
that-
in all
that's not- that
seriousness,
doesn't count.
I think the only one that would work out in a sense of like horror
yeah.
in this day and age would probably be like Nosferatu or the werewolf or the wereman.
That'd be cool.
Well, they
Well-
did the werewolf with what's his name?
Michael Morbius? Yeah, that's crazy.
No. Benicio del Toro. No, is it him?
Benicio del Toro.
What the
Yeah.
fuck are
No,
you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, they did one. Yeah, it's hang on, just watch it the other night. I have it on
Benicio has
Blu-ray. So, yeah,
It's
he-
not
with,
Bonicio. It's somebody. Guillermo
yeah.
Toro, no?
no, it's Benicio del Toro.
Benicio is
with
an
that,
actor.
Oh, okay,
Guillermo's
okay.
a director.
Yeah.
yeah, with Anthony Hopkins in there too, and
Ooh, that's who I would
God.
bring back. I'd bring back Hannibal.
yeah,
Hannibal
that'd be
Lecter?
good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I got it right
No,
here. It's called The
Hannibal
Wolfman.
Buress.
It came out.
Oh.
You're gonna find out when it came out. I have it right here. See? Oh, no, you can't see it.
No, I see it. Wolfman.
Yeah, The Wolfman. I just watched it the other day because I was like, "Oh, this is a classic. I haven't seen this in a while."
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that was Universal Studios trying to do that,
Mhm.
and they were going to reboot. Remember when Tom Cruise came out with The Mummy? That movie, The Mummy.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That came
On
out
that tank.
like a
That was weird.
yeah. That came out after that movie came out because they were going to redo all their classic horror. They were gonna do what's it called? They had the Wolfman came out. It did really well. It did okay in the theaters, I think. I'll have to look it up in a minute. But then the Mummy came out. That tanked. They had someone else signed up to do Frankenstein. They were gonna do Frankenstein's monster and another Dracula movie. And then Tom Cruise was gonna lead this new group of modern hunters. Like Van Helsing in a way.
That'd be cool, like a new Van
Yeah,
Helsing would
like
be
that
dope.
was the whole plan of the whole thing. They were gonna bring all these movies together and make in one universe. Like
Yeah.
the Wolfman Wolfman takes place in the 1800s and stuff like that, right? But then but they were gonna modernize it. Like they were gonna push it forward. Obviously, the Wolfman curse
Yeah.
can carry over and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they were trying to do that. They wanted to bring.
It wasn't gonna be Michael J. Fox anymore.
No, it'd be great if it was.
Yeah.
I remember Michael J. Fox as Teen Wolf.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Heartthrob. Who you gonna be today? Great
I-
movie.
I was gonna say they did make like a remake of a Frankenstein movie, or not a remake, but like a reboot of like a Frankenstein. I think it was called I, Victor or something
like that.
stupid shit.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
It was-
I know what you're talking about.
I saw the trailer and I was like, huh, maybe, and then it was like, oh, this is Frankenstein. Never mind.
Yeah, it didn't do so
No
well.
way.
There was another one. They tried to do it. I Frankenstein came out. They were trying to do Frankenstein, and then it just hasn't hit.
No, it's just not as scary anymore because it's just
Yeah.
like you see Frankenstein. Like if you go down to like downtown LA, you see Frankenstein all the time.
Yeah.
Like every corner you go to, there's a fucking Frankenstein. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the Rob Zombie just did the Monsters, so that I don't know how was that, but
Monsters, yeah. I don't know.
I love
haven't
the monsters.
Yeah, the original monsters are great.
yeah, when I was a kid, I used to get called Eddie Monster all the time because I used to slick my hair back as a kid,
Ooh.
so I looked like Eddie Monster a lot. And I
Spoiler
was like,
alert,
"What? Who are you talking
I'm
about?"
here-
I'm like, "Yeah, that's
I'm doing a
her.
couple's costume this year.
Nice.
That's right, baby."
Nice.
And talking about the monsters, who do you think we're gonna be?
Oh.
Well, you're gonna be the two main ones, the ones that are together, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Morticia and Gomez. Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
the wrong show.
That's the Adams Family.
That's the Adams
Oh,
Family.
the Adams Family. Yes, you're right. Holy shit! I fucking completely
You
forgot.
know what's funny? I was just about to ask about like Adam's Family because
Mhm.
we got our fucking boy Luis Guzman as freaking fucking God. Why can't I remember his name? I
Gomez.
just said Gomez. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like,
Christopher
those
Lloyd, who
movies-
played
Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester, he just
Fester.
had a birthday.
Happy
he-
birthday to Christopher
Yeah.
Lloyd. The G,
Oh, yeah.
man.
Yeah, true G.
Hell yeah.
Legend.
definite big
Absolute
legend. But I'm gonna go back to the question here. If I could bring it back, I would bring back um I'd probably bring back like the Mummy or like the creature from the Black Lagoon. I think was like
I
like
completely forgot
That's-
about that one.
I think
think
that's
would
the one
be
because
fantastic.
they've done the Mummy movies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I said, they brought up the Wolfman. They've done a bunch of different Dracula movies, like even vampire movies, a ton of stuff like that.
Mhm.
The Black Lagoon, that's like that. I think that's a classic monster we haven't seen come back.
Right,
Or they've done a story about.
Yeah.
I mean, King Kong's got quite a few movies, and we haven't got Black Lagoon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a place in time. I get that.
Yeah, how
But-
do you bring that to like more of a modern time?
You turn him into Swamp Thing, and you make Swamp Thing a fucking horror movie.
Well,
I mean,
Marvel did
wasn't it kind of?
kind of, yeah.
No, like real horror, like super.
No, like that
horror.
movie back in the day, the Swamp Thing back in the day. where
Yeah,
like,
back Swamp.
No,
Yeah, they had
but-
there's
it
but
was,
I'm
like,
saying-
beat the shit
Swamp
out of
Thing
him.
1 and 2, but it ended up being like it's supposed to be horror and scary, and it's filmed that way. If you look at it, if you watch
Oh,
it,
yeah,
it's
the
filmed.
monsters are freaky.
I'm talking like if it
Yeah.
came out next year, that's what I would like to do. Because then it would have like some notoriety, which people know who fucking Swamp Thing is now,
Tino.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that's the type of thing I'm talking about. But that's just me.
I mean, I'm down to see either one of those.
But yeah, I mean, it is-
Mine? You want mine?
I would love
is-
yours. Yeah,
Of course, my brethren, the vampires. I love
of
them.
course.
So always. I can't forget my family.
That's great. That's correct. Yes.
That's right.
But I also really liked that. I don't even think I'd have to redo it, but I really like that just like last year or 2 years ago, that Invisible Man.
Yeah, that was
actually a
Ooh,
pretty
that's
fucking
great.
cool movie.
that was a really
That was a
yeah,
cool
dude.
movie. I did enjoy that. I thought that was a really
They did good on
that
like
was a
the
genius
psychological
way
part
of-
of it.
well, it was a genius way of making like, oh, it's a fucking like tech suit, right?
Yeah.
It's like this
Yeah.
fucking super suit that makes you like, it has a bunch of cameras and it like makes you invisible. Like that's a fucking cool idea for how they could portray that compared to like
fucking Mysterio. Like
yeah,
Yeah,
basically
right?
it's basically Mysterio. But it's
As
like, it's
compared
like
to,
there was that movie back in the day with like Chevy Chase. The
Yeah,
Memoirs of the Invisible Man, where he like
Yeah.
fucking he actually gets like turned invisible. And like that's a cool movie, but it's not a horror movie, of course, right? And then, like
No.
Hollow
No,
Man,
right.
it was the same thing too, but like
Hollow
Hollow
Man.
Man,
Yeah.
Hollow Man sucked compared to like this one. I think personally, like, Hollow Man was a good movie, but like
Yeah.
this movie was just
That's-
a more
I've-
genius kind of scary thrillery type of thing.
I feel like that's a big sentence on when they compare the two. Like
Right.
Hollow Man just gets destroyed by this one that came out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. I like that. I like that a
Also,
lot.
I am getting
Also,
my favorite horror character, but he's not an original horror character. But I'm getting my favorite character back. They did announce like today that Tobin Bell's coming back for Saw. So
yeah,
cool.
oh yeah, I did see
sick.
that. I saw that too.
yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
exciting. Yeah, that's super
Yeah.
exciting.
Can I just
Oh, yeah.
say that I think it was Jigsaw? Jigsaw was a fucking snooze fest. I'm sorry.
Right.
Is that was that with Jigsaw or Spiral?
Spiral.
No,
was
Jigsaw is the one after Jigsaw.
Yeah. Jigsaw is the one
Wait.
after Spiral.
Oh yes, so the one
No,
after.
Jigsaw was before Spiral.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah, Jigsaw was right before Spiral.
Okay.
Spiral was the last one, and I think that's why they're like, that one didn't do that good. Let's redo it. Let's take
yeah,
another
let's
shot
try
at
it
it.
again. Reboot this.
Yeah, we need to like we did really good until like 7, and then we did Jigsaw and that kind of, and they were like, let's do Spiral, try to switch it up, and they're like, oh, that didn't work either. Fuck, now let's do another one to make up for the last two being shite.
Not very good.
Yeah.
I think
not great.
it's smart for them to reboot that series because that's like a
They're not
that has,
rebooting
like,
it.
They're not rebooting it.
No,
Well,
the
what
Tobin
they-
Bell's just coming back. So
Mhm.
Oh god, so it's gonna be when like his character's still spoilers. Yeah, he's like,
I assume
Yeah.
spoilers. If you haven't seen fucking Saw 2, what
Saw?
the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go see Saw. Yeah, go see all. I mean,
Go watch all of them. Go watch the first
they're
3.
great. They're great.
At least the
Oh,
first,
man.
at least the first 3.
Yeah.
I
they're-
do think that
They're
like,
all on HBO Max right now. I think.
I have to say that some people don't like up to 7, right? I get it, but like I actually do think that they did it right with going that far, because like the way that they were able to like make it so that like you know I don't who knows if that was the plan along. I have literally no fucking
Yeah.
idea. But the fact that they were like, oh yeah, this movie's actually going to be about like it's about like Amanda or whatever, and then there's like all
Yeah.
that detective guy, and there's all these other fucking people who are getting in the way, and you're like, who the fuck are these people? And
Yeah.
and they're messing up his rules, they're messing up his game, and
Yeah.
it's
They're
like
not-
it's like completely fucking shit up. And then like Seven comes around, he's like, no, like you fucked up everything. Carrie Ewells is spoilers. Fucking
Yeah.
steps in there and fucking resets the shit. Like that's cool as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah,
Like
I like that
that's
they did that.
such a
Like
badass
he
way to like
built.
clean it up.
I like that he built these apprentices
Mhm.
and like.
But he
you
didn't know that there was other apprentices at the same time. Like these apprentices had no idea that there was another one.
Oh
Right.
yeah, I think in which I'm going to go into Star Wars because I like to
Yeah,
do
right.
that. It's like the rule of two, but I think that's even more pure evil. Like you don't tell that you have another apprentice because then you're going to make competition. So
Right.
you're gonna bring their confidence level to, oh wait, he has another one, so why
Yeah.
am I not important? Blah blah blah. You know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's
But he also didn't know that
smart.
like people were gonna like do it wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he thought they were the original plan is they're gonna follow, his code,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
which it's really done brilliant. I'm excited to see what
They just need to
they
fix
bring
it.
him back, what they bring him back at, like what capacity he comes back as.
Mm-hmm.
Is it probably a flashback or, I mean, shoot, I would love it if he's not dead.
I mean, he's pretty much dead.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, like he like dies like multiple times or something like that. Like, not multiple times, but like
And to be honest, the cancer would have killed him by now.
yeah, he would have been dead. Yeah. That's right. Originally, he had cancer, so like
Yeah.
he was on his way out either way.
Yeah, that's why he did this. But,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, the doctor's husband, he slit his throat, basically,
Mhm,
right?
Right.
mhm.
Yeah.
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 So
So
he's fucking dead.
What a great series! I gotta watch that again.
so for
That's
the,
what I forgot about that series.
for the topic, it was freaking Black Lagoon. We had the Invisible Man. You guys got one? John Angel? If not, we gotta
Well-
move on to the next one.
Yeah, I don't have one. I
Don't
think
forget my
I think
vampire
there's-
brethren. Okay, they're always
That's right.
there.
That's right.
They're always welcome.
That's
But
gonna
the,
be
the
yeah,
only
that's gonna-
vampire brethren that I want is Leslie Nielsen from Dracula Dead and Loving It. That's the only
Oh, that's
one
good.
I want to come back.
Great.
No, we're bringing
freaking-
back Edward Cullen here. Okay.
Oh,
That's my
No,
Team
no,
Edward,
you
baby.
mean Batman?
Batman.
Yes. He is Batman. I mean, it's a vampire technically, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. He's not bad.
I am vengeance.
All right,
Yeah. Go on.
you guys got one? If not, I'm moving on.
No, I don't. I'm good.
Okay.
To me, it's like, I think it's I mean, you said it, the creature of Black Lagoon, or to me, Wereman. Like those are the ones I would be more interested in.
Yeah.
You have to go back to the Wereman because you have more vampire movies out there than you do werewolf movies.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Mhm.
So
And that's the thing. Like, I think they just they just focus more on making the werewolf like this like epic creature that it wasn't before.
Yeah.
What wasn't it?
Like it was like more of like, oh, they're scared because it is what because they don't know what it is essentially. It's like it wasn't, I guess, on purpose scary. It was scary because that person didn't know what he was doing at night. But the person was fine. I don't know how to explain it. Like the way it is now as compared, it's very different how they portray it, weremen and like werewolves and whatnot.
No, I get what you're saying.
right.
Yeah.
The original concept is it's just somebody doesn't know who they turn into.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So we're gonna wind it down with kind of like the last little bit. We're gonna have like a separate part for the Patreon, by the way. We're gonna start that soon, I swear. That you guys can see. It's kind of a little bit behind the scenes. We're gonna do like a top 25 list of movies and horror movies.
Is it gonna
and
be
stuff
like a tier
that.
list?
It might not be a tier list, but it might just be we'll talk about them because we got the IGN 25 best horror movies of all time that John actually pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to tell
And-
them how many times we're wrong.
They are wrong a few times, that's for sure. But so The last question for the podcast today is going to be, or not even, it's not even a question. It's not even a question. It's just discussion. What were the horror movies from our past that freaked us out or made us love the genre even more?
And
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
there's so many. There's so many. Like,
So
I think the Shining's the one that freaked me out as a kid,
yeah.
and still gets me a little bit when I watch it.
Okay.
I mean, that's an all time classic. I
Oh,
feel
hell
like
yeah.
that's the one that got me.
It got you. It got you.
A little
You're going through your own PTSD right now.
I mean, you know, a little bit. I don't know. You know, somebody might need to come over and cuddle with me.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
I think growing up for me,
We'll be touching mustaches.
I was more curious when I saw it.
Oh,
Nice.
the original It?
one?
Yeah,
Or-
the original It.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like it scared me shitless. I'm telling you, it scared me shitless.
Have you watched the new one? The
I love them.
most recent one. Yeah, they're good.
But I don't know. It's just like something about that horror and like, oh, this is fucking cool. You know, it's like I don't know. It was just cool to me, and that's what got me into more things. And then, like for me, like I'm very interested in like the religious like lore, I guess you can say, like, you know, like in The Conjuring, the devil, all this shit, like the nun and all that stuff. That's why I love The Conjuring. It's like, what if these things did exist, you know?
Right.
Like, I think about that a lot, especially because for me, it was The Exorcist that got me. It got me really bent out of shape about horror because of like, I grew up in a very religious home. My mom is very religious, and I went to like Catholic school and shit, like growing up. So it hit like this really hard spot for me where I was like, oh shit, the demons are real, dog. Holy shit, you know? Like I'm sleeping with the fucking cross above my bed and shit, you know. That's
Jesus piece right next to you, bro.
Dude, Jesus piece like a dream catcher, bro. It's fucking crazy. But it's like it was that's the one that like caught off of like any scary shit for the longest time, and it wasn't until recently, I think maybe Angel remembers like this phase where we started to play like Phasmophobia and shit like that. And then I was like, I realized I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah,
I realized I'm not scared anymore. It's like I realized no, it's so weird, but I realized like playing that game in like complete darkness and shit like that. I was like, I used to have a big fear of the dark. I used to be scared shitless of watching scary movies. It only took me till I was like 28. You know, that's
yeah.
Right.
But it's like
only till I was 72.
But it's like, and then I watched like the first Aliens movie, and I was like, and which is not necessarily super horror, but it was like for me at the time, I was like, this is awesome. And then I went back and watched The Exorcist again, and it was fine. And then I watched The Omen, and it was like became this thing. And then I just started playing scary games and stuff like that. And I'm like, this does not matter. You know, none of this matters. This is like the more I make fun of it, the easier it is to just like walk past it.
Even as a kid, me myself, I was a fucking bitch when it came to fucking scary movies and whatnot. Like I just couldn't tolerate them. Like as soon as I heard like the Chucky and like the intro to Chucky play, I would be fucking crying already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a rough one too. I forgot about Chucky. I forgot about like dummies and stuff like we didn't really like jump into that. Dummies
Dude,
or dolls,
when you were
like
talking about
Annabelle and
jingles,
shit like that.
Yeah.
You know which thing was unintentional? Like it was obviously they wanted to make it like spoopy, but you know what like creeped me out unintentionally like so much? The Goosebumps one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Heck
That's
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. And I was like, I don't know, like the visuals and all that stuff. Like this is fucking creepy, bro.
So I'm not. So I gotta go back. I gotta run it back real quick. So it was The Exorcist, but I tried scary movies again when I was a kid, and it was fucking the Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knights. That's the one that fucked me up forever. Like it fucked me up till I was like, because there's this like I always remember the part towards the end where they put that blood like on the freaking on the doorway so that they can make the little fucking the wall so that the
Right.
monsters can't get through. But then they inadvertently trap themselves in the room with another monster when the kid looks at the comic book and the kid turns into the comic book monster.
Oh yeah.
That just ruined me, dude. Holy crap. That was like the weirdest thing I had ever seen. And that was prosthetic, or that was practical effects too, so it was really good. For the set of movies, because I think Tales from the Crypt had 2 movies. It was Bordello
Yeah.
of Blood, and then it was Demon Knights,
Mhm.
and it was pretty good. The Crypt Keeper scared the shit out of me when I was a kid
Crypt
too.
Keeper was creepy doll. It was a
Yeah.
creepy doll. I remember like liking those, but still getting scared of them.
See, I was young enough, or like I was old. Okay, so I was old enough to know the Crypt Keeper, but I was not old enough to know Elvira. So I really missed like this middle
Oh,
part
dude.
in my life where I was like, oh, this was actually good at one point. Fantastic.
So
That's how I knew I like goth girls, bro.
Goth Girls is where it's at.
So I used to get in trouble. My mom used to like, catch me with the Elvira, watching the Elvira, and she would just, I go to bed. You're too young for this stuff, and blah blah blah. So yeah, I remember the Elvira thing. Used to get, that was the
Your
thing.
little bonk on the head telling you to go to bed.
Like golf girls, I had to tell mom, I like golf girls. Before I knew, I didn't know.
It wasn't just a phase. You know what I mean, John?
No, it's like nope. It's a lifestyle. The life choices right there, man.
That's amazing. Wait, hold on.
Michael, thoughts?
Mike, hit us with what got you, man.
Oh, okay. So like, what? But it's this is such a fucking strange thing. I was absolutely terrified of the Crypt Keeper when I was a kid. I thought he was like the scariest thing ever. I don't know why, but I would then watch it
Yeah.
and be like freaked out by it. Like, why am I like, what? I don't know why I'm scared of this thing.
Right.
But I will say, like, what's interesting about horror in general, I think, is sort of how, like, I think this is a strange tale, right? Like, I grew up like not liking horror movies when I was a kid, and then
Yeah.
I would say there was like moments where I distinctly remember, like, I was probably like 10 years old or something like that, maybe less, probably like less than that, and I would remember, like, I'd be at somebody's house and like they would have like Chucky on, right?
Yeah.
And it was like I wanted to watch it, even though like I was scared of it. I would sit there and like try to watch it, and then I started just watching it. And I was just like kind of getting into it, and I will say that, like, it's also a strange thing that, like, you can be afraid of something when you're younger and then love it later, or you can
Yep.
love something when you're younger and hate it when you're older.
Yeah.
See, for me, like, it's kind of a goofy thing. Is like, I grew up like Haunted Mansion at Disney World was my favorite ride. I loved it. Like,
Dude,
Casper and like Ghosts are my favorite thing.
Mhm.
I used to be like
Mhm.
obsessed with it. Thought they were the coolest things ever. And now the one thing that does get me in horror movies is ghost shit. Because, like, as I grew up, I realized, like, as a kid, I thought ghosts were like, they'd be this fun friend and they would be cool. And then
Casper.
when you think about it, when you're an adult or you get older, you're like, that's horrifying. Like, the idea of this concept of this is fucked up. And so I kind of, like, my brain sort of like changed as I aged, and that's like one of the things that like still spooks me is like horror movies with like ghosts and shit. Even though I still watch them, but like that's like the one thing that gets me. But like I think that, like, growing up, and I will blame the Nightmare Before Christmas, even though it's not a horror movie, but like that growing up, and like I was like 9 years old when the movie came out. I saw it in theaters and was like obsessed with it. And it's like the scary imagery, and like Beetlejuice growing up, right? Like those weren't horror movies per se, but they were fucked up for kids to be watching.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we watched them somehow. I don't know how. And
Because we're tougher back then.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it just like ingrained us to enjoy like spooky, scary shit forever from that point forward. And I can like almost distinctly call that out as like that's when my like shift happened, and now I'm like, I love horror movies, and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a question for you now. Like, what are your thoughts on, like, you know how they're making a Winnie the Pooh movie, but like a slasher horror film?
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think stuff like that's just like goofy as fuck. To be
Like,
honest.
because
I
they're
don't
making
thi-
a
I don't think
Grinch
it's-
too.
Yeah, I saw the Grinch horror movie. Yeah, it's just like shit like that's just
What?
kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I don't feel like I feel like that's parody sort of stuff. Like it's not evidently it's going to be really cheesy bad horror.
Uh-huh.
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be like, it's not going to be something that's enjoyable. It's not going to have the class of something like, like The Black Phone or something. Even though I don't really know if that's a horror movie, but like
I think it's a psychological thriller.
it is more of a psychological thriller with ghosts, right?
Yeah.
But like, or something like Sinister, or, something like that. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of like cheese. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
those are still like stupid horror movies, and I do watch those. I love. I usually do a thing like basically like every Sunday morning if I have a chance. I'll watch horror movies. I
Mhm.
try to sneak them in.
Mhm.
My girlfriend doesn't love the horror movies as much as I do, so I will watch them on my own time. And that's about the only time I have. So Sunday morning ritual. Pick a dumb horror movie and I'm watching it. There you go.
Isn't that like kind of the fun thing to do with like
Yeah.
someone is just watch those DC or like really just crappy
It's
horror
fucking
movies?
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Like,
terrible. They're more
Ginger,
comical.
like the Ginger Dead Man is a fucking
What about-
classic.
What about the Abraham Lincoln movie where he says,
Abraham
the
Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that has a higher production value than say
Yeah,
the
that
Ginger
does.
Dead Man or something like that. Oh, the one that's the one that kind of got me as a kid. And didn't get me as a kid. I actually fucking just like loved it as a kid. It was like, and it's weird because I didn't even think of it as a horror movie. It was like fucking Killer Clowns from Outer Space, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
fucking
Ridiculous, dude.
obsessed with
Yeah.
that movie,
Yeah.
and it is still a horror movie in theory, right? Like as a
Mhm.
child, I should not have been watching that on like a fucking
But it was like-
daily basis.
It was
Yeah.
that era, right? Where like things like that were fucking terrifying.
Yeah, people were scared of shit like that, to be honest.
Like the what's called the aliens that come from space or some shit like that.
Fucking Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
Yeah, Mars Attacks. There you go.
You were scared
Like
of that?
movie.
I thought
I
that was like comical. I
so I
thought.
was scared of that movie too.
Yeah,
then as I
it's
grew
really-
like a
up-
comedy. It's like a comedy horror movie.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
I grew
Yeah.
up, I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 100%. And that's the same way I feel about
Or something
Killer
like The
Clowns from
Blob.
Outer Space, right?
Or like the
The
Blob,
Blob
or
is
The
like
Blob. Yeah.
the Blob, or like Killer Tomatoes.
Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know
Uh,
what I thought?
But you know it's
was
weird. There was an
scary?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes like cartoon for children,
Yeah, there
right?
was.
And like
Yeah.
that's the fucked up thing. Like there was a Toxic Avenger
Yeah.
That's right.
fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
television show. I mean, and those are technically like horror movies in a
Yeah.
sense. They're like
Yeah.
a goofy ass horror movie, but in a sense they're still a horror movie. And there was toys and there was fucking games and shit that like for children,
Well,
which
Yep.
like I have action figures from it when I was a kid. Like
Well,
what the fuck?
We have to remember movies like Leprechaun in the Hood exist too.
Oh,
so it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like-
for sure,
Leprechaun.
for sure.
The Leprechaun in the Hood. Oh my god! I remember like God, this movie's gonna be scary, and then not thinking it was that scary. Like there was moments, but like it was
That
just
was
like
ridiculous.
it was kind of just ridiculous. Yeah. It's kind of like how like what you're talking about. Like that's how I felt about like Evil Dead. Like
Oh,
watching
Evil Dead's
Evil
Dead's
Dead's
Evil Dead's a
fantastic.
it's like a horror comedy in a
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
but when I watched Evil Dead, like I remember watching it in high school, and I was like, man, this is like because like all like the even though it was
Cold stuff.
crappy, like yeah, it was cold stuff. Like it's really crappy. Reading this evil book, and like Bruce Campbell had like cut his hand off in the second one. Like
Yeah.
it did creep me out, but like going back later down the road and watching it, I think it's comical.
I
do
will
love
say
it.
the remake of that
Oh
movie
man,
though,
dude,
was not a comedy and was just a
No,
straight horror movie.
Yeah, I was
Dude,
gonna
I-
ask.
that was
I actually like that movie,
It was
but
a
it
good
is
movie.
that is a
It's-
fucking fucked up movie.
And
it's
sure.
I-
Which movie again?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead,
Evil
but not-
Dead.
okay.
not-
It's the most
the
recent
original
Evil
one?
Dead. Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you guys have you guys seen the reviews about Terrifier and how do you guys feel about it?
I keep hearing about
Terrifier.
Terrifier. I have not seen Terrifier myself.
Oh, is that the one where the guy's dressed
clown.
as a clown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I did
mean,
like
I'll-
the one where the clown guy like he puts like a clown nose on, and it like stays on his face, and he
What the
like
hell?
he
And-
becomes a clown.
Yeah, like
and
an
he,
old,
like,
like an
can't-
old Goosebumps shit episode.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
can't take the makeup off, and it's like
Yeah.
fucking stuck to him. That was an
That's
interesting.
a horror movie? That's me every
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Wasn't
it
that
was
the
a horror
movie with
movie.
Yeah.
Joaquin
Every
Phoenix?
I don't- But science.
No, it
Fine.
was
Oh.
that recent clown movie
Patch
with Joaquin
Adams?
Phoenix. Yeah, it was Patch
Oh.
Adams.
Patch Adams.
Yeah, the
Oh my
Joker.
God. Yeah,
Similar,
Yeah.
but different.
similar.
Guys, we can
I
definitely
want to
discuss
see
this.
that.
We can definitely discuss this more if you guys want to do like a special Halloween like episode for sure. Like a on Halloween day. Well, we can keep going. But for right now, guys, we have to, close it off.
Yeah.
If you like I
To
said,
be
if you guys
continued.
if to be continued, if you guys do want to check out the extra hidden secret freaking footage that we're gonna be filming after this.
I might be naked.
He might be naked. Please
Might
go
be.
check it. Please go
Is
check
I'll
it.
be
Is
there.
that well, how is that even an option? I mean, you
I'll
have to
be there.
Please go
It's part of
check
the-
out.
it's part of the video.
Don't you know?
We got Mike Jackson in the fucking call too.
Please go check out the Underlevel Patreon. Be a friend, help us out, support your buddies a little bit with a $1, $2 friggin' Patreon subscription. We'd appreciate that so much. We're gonna have a lot of
Every time you
Kinda
guys subscribe to the Patreon, I give John a kiss on the cheek.
That's right, and we want to give him many kisses. We're gonna have all kinds of stuff. We're gonna be filling it up with a bunch of exclusive Patreon-only content and things like that. So please help us out and stay tuned for more episodes of the Underlevel podcast that we've called Leveled Up. This is episode 2, guys. There might be a third.
This one's episode 2, guys. What happened to the 3 guys?
No, we're gonna keep going until it's episode 5, guys, and then we'll completely cancel it.
I could take 5 guys.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I believe
let's
that.
keep
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah, let's keep this Halloween themed episode PG. And
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Like the burgers are fire, bro.
Oh my god. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And we'll catch you on the next one. From me, John, Mike, and Angel. Have a spooky Halloween. And we'll catch you next time.
Happy Halloween.
Taxes.
I'm actually streaming right now, so
9 to 5.
Streaming.
the show isn't ended yet. Okay.
The show hasn't ended.
Game over.